Hey guys, it's your best boxing friends. I'm Kelsey. This is Rachel. Rachel, Gennady Golovkin fights this week, and it's Friday right now, so he fights tomorrow. Might have already fought by the time you see this. But listen, usually, at least in the past 5 years or so, when Gennady Golovkin fights, it's a huge deal. We're all excited. Even when he fought Vadas Martirosyan, we wanted to see him unleash the beast, right? Release the Kraken. Why don't people care anymore?
Well, I think in part, Golovkin doesn't hold the same mystique or what have you. Like he was, you know,
He was undefeatable.
yeah, but then he was defeatable. And then you also have like the level of opponent, right?
Yeah.
Which is like
Steve Rolls, a Canadian regional level opponent who's never really fought at the world level, so that's
so
of
like I mean, then you have like we're just coming off like a huge upset in like heavyweight history.
yeah.
I feel like people are still talking about that, so it seems to make sense to me that this is kind of overshadowed. And I don't know, like I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I guess Golovkin fights tomorrow. Like I had even kind of forgotten. So
Yeah.
is it also maybe a part of like the marketing and promotion that like maybe they dropped the ball a little
Well,
bit?
that HBO used to be a well-oiled machine, and now you've got
Right.
DAZN, who doesn't. Some of the same people that worked in HBO boxing now work for DAZN, but it's not the same entity. It's not the same people over there.
But I also don't
in
know how
general.
DAZN like reaches out like marketing wise. Like like you have to build up some of those channels. So it's not like I don't know. I'm not sitting around watching DAZN all the time. Like I don't turn that app on like on my TV and watch it all the time. I do watch like other stuff. Like so we have like shows we watch and whatnot. We're not going to see ad. I don't see ads for DAZN. Like you know what I
Not
mean?
unless
Like
it's a
I'm trying
really,
to.
really big fight, like Canelo versus Jacobs. I did see some ads
Yeah.
in different places, but yeah, Golovkin versus Rolls. I don't guess you're planning on. I think they are planning on getting a little bump in a subscription base because he's Gennady Golovkin and he's supposedly one of the biggest stars in the sport.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the most accomplished stars in the sport, and still one of the best assets to get. And they got him, and that's great. I wonder if, in part, it's due to kind of the luster off of Golovkin's personality. Remember when he came up and he was like, "I like fight," and just
Yeah.
people loved Gennady Golovkin. He might not have been as big a star numbers wise as a fighter like Canelo Alvarez, but his fan base was just totally dedicated to this guy. Just really, really into Golovkin, and I think that
Are you
his
saying that
his
this?
manager Tom Loeffler did a great job of getting the right stories out through the right media. And now, like, you see him lose. You kind of see the kinds of things he says after he loses. His messy breakup with longtime trainer Abel Sanchez wasn't maybe the best look on either side. So I wonder if people are just kind of sick of that kind of, I don't know, it's almost, he came up as a positive, like, Happy Manny Pacquiao type.
Mm-hmm.
And then lately, he's been less of that. I just saw him kind of, he said something in the media recently about Anthony Joshua maybe not having to take as many PD drug tests here. So he's kind of like saying stuff where you're like, you're kind of sounding like a Charlo. Like what? Not all the way like a Charlo, but he's kind of going the Charlo way as opposed to what we thought he might be, which was more like classy Manny Pacquiao type fighter.
Okay. Well, yeah, I can see that. I had wondered if maybe it had grown stale.
Yeah.
In that,
But that could be
if
it
we
too.
can't like develop more of a connection with you due to whatever, then it makes it hard to, and especially if you've lost, like it just, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know what it is. Like as I'm talking, I'm thinking in my head, and like I've talked about like Canelo. Like I think I have a hard time connecting with Canelo. Maybe due to language barrier. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I don't know who he is. We had, when we talked about that on the Canelo video, we had a couple people in the com box tell us, oh, in Spanish, like he's all full of personality.
Okay.
So like I was like, okay, I get that. So like, is the same thing with Golovkin. Are we missing something that in the beginning was, precious and everybody loved?
And Golovkin has learned English faster or wanted to learn English, and Canelo really hasn't done that as much. So then I wonder, and this is maybe a larger issue, there's something that I like to call the blank slate syndrome, right? And basically it's this. It's probably got a fancier, better name by somebody smart. Mm-hmm. But basically, when if there's a language barrier or something like that, that person can be anybody to me because I can project on them whatever qualities I like.
Yeah.
And maybe we did that to Gennady Golovkin. There's a lot of people that do that to an old school fighter named Harry Greb. There's no film that exists of this guy, and yet I mean, like, there's a big movement of people talking about him being the greatest fighter ever. It's fine if that's your opinion. My favorite writer, Springs Cholito, that's his opinion. Harry Greb's the best fighter ever. But like when I see like the volume of people rush to that angle, it's certainly an easy thing to suggest since you can't actually watch him fight. And just one more point about that: when I see older school fighters like Jim Corbett, there is film of him. Watch Jim Corbett fight, who was a great boxer in his time, who people thought was one of the best boxers ever at the time. Jim Corbett doesn't look that good. I mean, he looks better than like me, but I'm saying the stuff has progressed. But blank slate syndrome, which I just made up right now, says that we can project on Harry Greb. We projected on Gennady Golovkin, and as more of Gennady Golovkin was revealed to us, maybe he's just not that. I don't know.
Well, that's a really good point, because sometimes there can be a vacuum in a space that somebody can come in and fill a role.
Yeah.
And so maybe when Golovkin first came on the scene, there was a desire for somebody, new, powerful, lovable, like all this stuff. And maybe he filled that role for that time, but maybe it wasn't grounded in reality.
Truth, yeah.
And so then it starts to fade over time.
Yeah, and regardless of any of that, Golovkin is one hell of a fighter. He's still one of the top middleweights in the world. He's 37 years old, but he beats just about any other middleweight probably than Canelo Alvarez. Maybe BJ Saunders, that'd be a good fight. I don't know if he has the power. But
I just like to see Golovkin fight more people.
I'd love to watch him fight.
Like, Canelo, maybe he's not going to give you another fight or whatever. You don't get a third. I don't know what the plan is there. But I just fight like more relevant people.
Did you hear he might?
And I feel like that should be doable. Whereas when he first came up, there was a narrative that nobody would fight him.
And now I think people.
But now, like, he's less scary. And now it would actually serve a lot of people really well if they could get in the ring and beat Golovkin.
Yeah, and it would serve Golovkin, at least even historically, because now, let's say Golovkin fights, he's been talking about fighting 168-pound champion Caleb Smith, who we saw fight in Madison Square Garden. That guy looks like $1 million. Let's envision Golovkin beating guys like Caleb Smith at a weight higher, beating other fighters that are as big or bigger than him. And I think when you look back at Golovkin's historic middleweight reign, you think, hey, maybe people were ducking him, right? Maybe he is one of the best middleweights ever. A lot of people think he is one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 middleweights ever. But he can really solidify that case for himself by what he does in the second act.
And you can solidify Real Talk with Kelsey and Rachel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. And that's like our real thing.
This is like our 4th act. And so for our 4th act, we would like likes, comment, and subscribes. That's what we live for, basically. Every day, Rachel and I, we huddle around the computer for at least an hour and just stare waiting for someone to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't you want to be that person right now? For only 33 cents a day, you can help like, comment, and subscribe. Actually, that's a different thing.